Exploratorium. So I guess I should kind of go around, so I could start with you, Ivar.
Okay.
You've won a Nobel Prize for in physics for the semiconductor works that you've done.
Superconductors.
Superconductors.
Yes.
What did I say? Semiconductor.
Semiconductors. That's a common
Super.
mistake.
You're a super.
Superconductor.
Okay, good. And you were a professor. You got your PhD in Rensselaer, RPI.
Yes.
And then from there, you did your research, and you're from Norway.
Yes.
So you've been around the world a few times.
Oh, many times.
Many times, yeah. And what got you interested? And I know we have something that we share. His dad was a pharmacist, as mine was, which was kind of a fun thing. And you said your grandfather too.
My grandfather was one too.
Yeah,
so
I can't. You got me beat. Except that I'm a pharmacist and you aren't.
No, that's true.
So I think we're even.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we agree on that.
All right. So what got you started in physics and why?
Well, the reason was that I was fortunate enough. I emigrated from Norway to Canada, and I started with Canadian General Electric. But then I recognized that across the Great Lakes was Schenectady, where people paid much more. So I managed to get a job.
The light bulb went.
Yeah, light bulb went in Schenectady. And I was fortunate. I was in a program called the A, B, and C courses. And I learned a lot of mathematics and met a lot of very clever people. And then I recognized that the General Electric Research Lab was there. And I also recognized, I had an assignment there, and I recognized that's the place I would like to be. And I managed to get a job there even though I didn't have a doctor's degree at that time.
But you knew what was needed and you went and got it, right?
Yeah, I did that, and I had some wonderful people who were tutoring me, like John Fisher and Charlie Bean and Walter Harrison, so they was great friends. And I would like to be like they were, you know, and then I had to go back to Rensselaer and get a doctor's degree in physics.
Well, it's, I know you spoke at the Edison Exploratorium, and I was impressed with what you said about, you know, the Edison and all of the people that were, came before you, because all of this couldn't have happened without Edison and Langmuir and all the other people that went before you to create the foundation. Tell me, what are superconductors? So everybody who's watching is not going to get it mixed up like I did with semiconductors. We're going to
superconductors are very esoteric. That's the first thing.
Okay.
And if you take a common metal like lead, if you cool it down to very low temperatures, the metal has no longer resistance. So if you then make a donut out of lead and put the current in it, that current will flow in that donut forever, as long as you keep it cold. No resistance at all.
This is sort of like perpetual motion?
It's exactly like a perpetual motion machine, except you can't take any energy out. It just keeps
It keeps recirculating.
Yeah.
Is this isn't what they use for travel, is it? Or is it,
no,
what do they use it for?
Where you find it today, if you take your magnetic resonance imaging.
Oh, MRIs, okay.
MRI. Then you have to go into a big cylinder.
Yes.
And that cylinder contains...
With lots of noise.
Yeah, that contains liquid helium, which is very, very cold, and in there is a metal and probably niobium tin. It's a big coil, and they put current in that coil, and now the current continues to flow, so they don't have to put any more energy in, but you get this very high magnetic field.
Okay.
And that's used for MRI. The magnetic field is a special thing. Actually,
Magnetic
was done by
resonance imaging.
Yeah,
right?
it was done by Lauderberg, who actually recently died. It was a very clever invention. And
How does that differ from PET? From a PET scan? Is that, do they utilize the same?
PET scan is very different.
Okay.
That's a physics thing. They use positrons.
A positron emission.
Yeah, and that's a very
tomography.
That's a very esoteric thing too, and very expensive. Actually, now it's become commercial, but they didn't think for a long time it would be.
Yeah.
But for special purposes, it's used.
Yeah, they use that as a second.
And this is an example. If we talk about engineering, I am the person I like to do. I'm an engineer at heart. And I like the Exploratorium because I think it's very nice to display that engineers are really what takes the science and make it useful. And so the PET is there's a positron, which is an antiparticle, but then physicists have figured that one out, but then somebody figured out how can we use it for something
for
practical.
medical purposes or any other. And I mean, it may be, they said that, what are they going to do at the airports? You're going to be able to go through and find out whether you have a spot on your lungs as you go through to get to the plane. I don't know what's going.
Well, that is a good idea.
You get your medical report as you go through, right? So, who knows how things for you? And I'm going to go to Ivar now. When did you find out that you had an aptitude for physics and engineering and all the good area of science? Were you, since your dad was a pharmacist,
yes.
I'm assuming that if it was anything like my pharmacist, everything that we did in the house had some sort of science background. Don't leave the top off the milk because of bacteria, yada, yada, yada. One of those.
I can tell you one story that impressed me. I still remember as a child, we had a plate, dinner plates, and one was a crack in it.
Oh, my
father saw that, and he took the plate and I cracked it in two.
Yeah, that's what my dad would have done too. Yeah.
Because he thought with bacteria in there.
Yeah. And those are the things that we learned.
Yes.
So, but when did you
Well,
what made you decide you weren't going to be an artist or a pharmacist and you wanted to do something different?
No, I didn't recognize that before I came to the United States.
Oh, okay.
I never knew that you can get paid for doing research. That was my biggest discovery. I discovered at General Electric lab.
Right.
You can actually do research and get paid.
For using your knowledge.
Yes. So it wasn't before I came here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I've always been interested in engineering, and I've always liked to take clocks apart and things. My mother thought I should be a locksmith because I could take any lock.
And you were in the military too for a
I
short
had
time.
to. In Norway, you have to serve one year.
Okay, it's conscription. Okay.
Yeah, and what I learned from that, if there ever is a war, don't go in the Norwegian army.
Because they probably aren't going to be.
They were not very efficient. I'm sorry to say something bad about Norway.
Has Norway ever been? I know that they were wonderful allies during World War II, and kind of were helpful. Undercover sort of type of thing.
We got occupied.
But you stayed out of the.
No.
You didn't? Okay.
No, we got occupied. Actually, I was going to say that, I forgot. The 9th of April is very significant to me because that's when Germany attacked Norway.
Yeah.
But
they invaded it.
Invaded Norway, but of course it only took like a few months, and that was
It was over. See, that's probably why that theater kind of escaped because it was so quick. Of course, if you were in Norway, it wasn't so quick.
No, it wasn't quick because then it was 5 years we were occupied. So,
Yeah.
But the Germans were very. Fortunately for us, the Germans felt that we were more Nordic than they were, and more, Germanic.
Germanic,
Greek.
yeah.
So they were kind in that sense.
Yeah. And maybe there was, they just saw you as a property to have. In other words, it was just another place to conquer.
See, it's one of these strange things because after the war, I was hiking, with a thumb in Europe. And I had to go then you had to go for Germany in one day. And I got a ride with a German truck driver called in from Denmark and through Germany. Mm-hmm. And so we talked a little bit, and he said, "It's too bad that we lost the war," he said. He had been in Bergen for 3 years, and he never knew that Norway was on the other side.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he was thinking that you were an ally of
but I thought since I had
you
a right...
You didn't say much, right?
No, I decided this was not the time to educate him.
Exactly. Oh, that's a wonderful story.
He's not retired now. He might tell you about what he's doing.
What are you doing now, Ivar? Now that we have Thurston did the segue here.
Well, what I'm doing, I'm giving opening speeches in the Exploratorium. No, I run a little business.
Do you?
In the tech park. We make medical equipment. And if anybody is interested, they can look at the internet. The address is biophysics.com.
How'd you get that domain name?
Because we are old and we started early.
Oh, I was going to say, I can't believe you got biophysics.com. Or org or com.
Maybe once a year I get the email saying, "We'd like to buy this
Oh,
domain."
yeah, I bet they do.
So I fired this thing back and said, "Give me a firm offer." I never got the firm offer.
A couple $1 million, maybe you might consider it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I was more interested in your concerns about cancer.
Right.
And your work in that respect.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And what are you doing with that?
No, we are. I was supported by a cancer foundation when I worked at RPI, and now we have this medical equipment we sell, which you can look at cells in tissue culture. And so this is a very cheap way you can look at cancer cells and normal cells. and you can compare how the cells are, and then you can put drugs on these cells, for example,
Oh,
chemotherapy.
and it kind of grew it to the person, actually.
Yeah.
Really, aren't you? Is that what they're doing? Is they're doing it sort of like
No,
once they get the cells?
but that might happen. For example, if you're unfortunate to get cancer, then you're going to have chemical therapy.
Right, chemo.
You take your cells and grow them in tissue culture, and then they may take different drugs and see how the cells react to these drugs. Rather than giving to the person first, they can do a little.
That's right. So they actually
But
hone it into that type of the
yeah, that hasn't
cancer.
happened yet.
Well, they're doing that with breast cancer a little
Yeah,
bit.
people.
They're using
Yeah, that's
some
sort
of
of
the-
research thing at the present time.
Yeah. And it's amazing what you can do. Science is so phenomenal, and it's just like you wonder. Wouldn't you love to just come back 100 years from now or 200 years from now and just look around and see?
He doesn't want to leave.
I know.
No. And by the
We're
way,
hanging in there, aren't we,
Exactly
Ivar? We're not leaving.